Welcome to End of the Bench with your host, Tony Bouie. Tony is ready to talk with you about sports as a former NFL star player, but he's also ready to talk business, politics, and life. Miracles happen at the end of the bench. Now, here's your host, Tony Bouie.
Welcome back to another episode of End of the Bench with Tony Bouie. I'm your host. Grab your water bottle and your wet towel and scoot on down to the end of the bench because this is where all the discussion happens. Today's episode is with a really good friend of mine and former teammate, Brandon Sanders. Now, Brandon and I played at the University of Arizona and started the Desert Swarm. So you talk about the Desert Swarm. Brandon and I and some other great U of A teammates of ours were the beginning, the epicenter of it all. And I'm happy to have him on the show today. Now, Brandon has 4 awesome kids. He is from San Diego, California. Went to the famous Helix High. We have a few other famous U of A DBs that went there as well. He was at the University of Arizona from 91 to 95. He played the National Football League with the Giants. He played with the Vegas Outlaws in the XFL. He also played in NFL Europe and is a former athletic director and high school football coach at Pueblo High School and some other places. So I want to welcome a good friend, Brandon Sanders, to the show. Welcome, Brandon.
Man, that was a great intro. It makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Happy to be here, man.
You got it. So I want to bring you on and talk about, one, how you got to the U of A, because we'll have a lot of U of A fans and ASU haters that will listen to this show. I had Juan Roque on a couple weeks ago. We had a good time. Juan, a big ASU legend himself. But so you came from Helix High. The question I think many people ask is, what was the track on getting to the U of A from Helix High? I mean, who recruited you, and what made you decide U of A was a place to go?
You know, that's interesting, man. The first person that ever recruited me from U of A was Chuck Cecil. Was Jeff Hammersmith. Excuse me, was Jeff Hammersmith. Jeff came back. He was still here at U of A playing my sophomore, junior year, and saw me in spring football. And he just came to me and said, "Hey, you're going to be the next safety at Arizona." And I didn't know where Arizona was. You know what I mean? As far as anything, I didn't even think about being recruited. And Jeff came back and started talking to Coach Aquina, and kind of the process started rolling. And then my coach, Coach Jim Arnice, him and Coach Tomey and the rest of the U of A staff had a really close knit bond, and they kind of directed me this way. It was kind of almost a foregone conclusion.
When you got to the U of A, and I find this interesting. At what point did you say to yourself, I can play with anybody here? Was it day one? Was it the first hit?
No.
Was it
no?
When what turned the corner for you?
Wait, I'm gonna go back a little bit. So day one was probably not day one, probably day, I think it was 6 or so. And you'll remember this very well. Some guys missed a bed check, and we all had to walk out from the hotel down to the mall, U of A mall, basically in underwear. And Coach had us doing up downs. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember it. So
that was okay. Maybe I'm not making too good of a choice. And then we got to Cochise, and I think a monsoon hit, and we had to go into the gym, and the lights went out in the gym. We were practicing under emergency lights, and I was like, I think I might have made a mistake. I don't know. And then you know what? Once we got back and we started practicing and watching you and Daryl Morrison and Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Holt and all those guys. And if you remember, Coach Aquina had me. I traveled. I was I was traveling even though I redshirted. I was lucky enough not to play that year, and and in practicing and being with you guys and still, going through the process of playing but not playing, I got that hunger and then realized, hey, you know what, I can contribute to helping our team win. And that's really what did it. It wasn't a single game. It was just that year of getting a chance to grow and grow with you guys. Not being in the hotel, not being in my dorm room where you guys were out playing games, but being in the hotels, doing all the tests and doing all those things that prepared me for playing.
Yeah, I think it's lost in today's college scene where it's give it to me now, and everybody wants to play from day one. But there's something to be said for redshirting a year, getting your body to a higher level of physicality so you can compete with the guys that are in the college level, because it's different than high school. We all know that. And,
no, definitely.
So I think the year of redshirting is beneficial for most football players going into college.
Well, I think if you have a hunger, look, everybody, when I left San Diego, it's like, I'm going to come and I'm going to play and I'm going to be ready. And, and then you get out there you get to truly practice with everybody. And then you realize, like, look, man, you don't know what kind of drills DBs are doing or what kind of drills everybody, think about yourself. Your freshman year, I had to learn how to do the one-step plant change. I had to learn how to, do a lot of different the catch technique, which people might not know, but there's different techniques and nuances that help you become a better player. Yeah, you might athletically be good, but if once you get those little details and you become you become a more well-rounded player. Yeah. And you might not be able to and truly, some guys can do it. I play with a couple of guys that played as freshmen. And even guys after you had left came in and played in the secondary as freshmen, but they had a lot of growing pains. It's not everybody's able to do it. I wasn't able to do it. That doesn't mean you're not good. That just means, hey, you might need a little bit more time. And that happens in high school as well. Some kids in high school don't, they might not be that great all the way in their junior year. And then it's like something happens overnight. They become a senior, and then they just get 1,000 times better. I've seen that happen as well.
Yeah, I had a show with Donnie Abraham, a former teammate of mine with the Buccaneers, played 9 years, and he actually felt he could have played another few years because of his mental acuity. Your IQ as a DB or as a football player increases with your experience, and you become better. And I think if you come in as a freshman in college, if you can develop your IQ, you might be able to play as a freshman or a sophomore, but play at a junior level. Play as a junior, but play as a senior level because your IQ is that much more acute when you've been around the game. You've been coached by good coaches. You've spent more time on the field and in the film room than you would have in high school.
Right, definitely. Well, and you're less apt to make those big mistakes. You can see the game a lot better. You know what I mean? What I mean is the game slows down, and when it slows down and you understand the things that can beat you, just like a quarterback. You look at Peyton Manning and you went against Peyton Manning. You line up, he's seen every defense, so he already knows. Before he hikes the ball, his pre-read, he knows where he's going to go. Yeah. And it's the same way when you see an offense and they line up a certain way, and you understand, here's the three things that they can do that beat me in this offense. So I can take chances at certain times. I can make a mistake and know it's still going to be all right. Just from that, and in your angles, like you say, when you get older. Yeah, you might get a step slower, but your angles are sharper, so you don't need as many steps to get where you need to be.
Yep. So you went on from the U of A. You, like me, you went undrafted, but you went to the Giants and played there. Tell me about your experience in the National Football League.
Goodness. Well, here's a couple. first, let's say when I left, when I left U of A, I made one major mistake. Coach Pat Hill, I know you remember Coach Hill.
Yep.
He called me and gave me wanted to give me a free agent tryout with Cleveland Browns, which I should have took. And that's the Cleveland Browns that are now the Baltimore Ravens. That team. And they didn't have any safeties, but I didn't know the business of NFL football. And I went to Kansas City. Kansas City drafted a safety in the first round, second round, and seventh round. And I still went there to be a free agent. And they had two guys, and they were coming off a 13-3 year with Joe Montana and everybody else. So, while I got a lot of experience going to Kansas City as far as just, kind of, if you want to call that a redshirt year, like I learned a lot. We didn't run a lot of cover 4 here at U of A. We were man in some cover 3. We didn't run a lot of 2 safety high and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I was able to. In Kansas City, they moved me around. I was playing corner. I played summer safety all summer. Then we come into training camp, and they moved me to corner. And then halfway through training camp, they moved back to safety. And I'm doing good. I think in training camp, I did a thing where I ended every practice. That's both 2 days. Every practice, I would end with like 2 or 3 interceptions. It's like, great. But they cut 4 people they drafted that year. They just didn't have enough guys. Mm-hmm. There wasn't any room for me, which I found out. Like I said, you got to know the business. When we're sitting down in the first team meeting, and Carl Peterson comes and he says, "I want to thank everybody for working with your contracts this year and from our 53 man roster from last year, we re-signed 47 people." So
good luck.
You look around the room and you're like, hey, wait a minute, 53, 47. Hey, you just start counting. Like, where are you going? They don't have any room for you.
Yeah.
And I had a good, and like I said, I had a good camp. I had a great camp. I didn't get a chance to get any games, but I had a good camp. And the other problem look, my locker is next to Marcus Allen. Mm-hmm. I'm from San Diego. Marcus Allen's he's one of our football guys.
Yeah, he is.
And now he's playing in '83. Keep in mind, what'd you say? I came out of high school in '91. So he's playing in Super Bowls in '83. So all these guys around me they're just old. One of the corners, James Hasty.
Mm-hmm.
James played with Coach Johnny Lynn.
In the Jets. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he played. Right. Johnny Lynn coached you and I in at U of A, and this guy who I'm playing with now played with our coach. It's like, wait a minute, hold up. Mark Collins was a safety. He played for the Giants. He started for the Giants in '85. It's like, wait a minute. I was only like what? I was only 12. Now I'm playing. Now these guys are all in the same locker room as me. Rich Gannon was a backup. Think to yourself, 3 years later, Rich Gannon was the MVP of the league. Yep. Rich Gannon was a backup. He was a backup that year. So it made things a little bit different. And then when I got the call to New York and I went to New York, everybody, not everybody, but the majority of that team were right around our age. We had played against Jesse Armstead. And Jason Sehorn.
Yep.
Felipe Sparks was only about 4 years older than me or so, 5 years, give or take, because he graduated that 91 year. All these guys, Danny Cannell, Kent Graham, like everybody from offense and defense, like we're all around the same age. So it felt different. It felt like I belonged. And then I had a good camp. I had a better one in Kansas City, but I got more opportunities in New York. And then once I became part of it, it just, I love the coaching staff. I love Coach Fossil. Coach Fox was a straight shooter, our defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. Coach Lynn, Coach McDuff was there. That's how I was able to get more. It gave me a chance to get more opportunities during preseason. So, I got a chance to get on a kickoff. I got a chance to get on a punt. And really, if you got those opportunities, nobody's saying that things happen for you, but things happen for me. You know, I think I had a kickoff. I had 2 or 3 good blocks on when I was on kick return. I caused a fumble in preseason, and then the last preseason game, what really sealed it is we played Green Bay, and that was right after they won the Super Bowl. So Green Bay, they tried to run a wheel route on me, and I picked off Brett Favre. So that kind of sealed the deal. You know, you get an interception on Brett Favre in preseason. So, I mean, I had a great time in New York. It was fabulous. It was crazy that in 99, I got taken from there to go to the expansion Cleveland Browns. And then I ended up still back I didn't make Cleveland, and I ended up back in New York for the last 8 weeks, and which was great, by the way. Let me tell you, that was great.
Yeah,
there's nothing, Tony. There's nothing like going in the expansion draft, not making that team, and then getting picked up by, you know, whether it's your former team or any other team. Because here's the deal: whenever you get in the expansion draft, they've only had like, you know, a few, but if they don't cut you by June, if they picked you up if they took you from a team, if they don't cut you by June, they have to pay you your entire salary for the year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
And so when I got to New York's paying me my salary as well, so I get double salary.
Double dipping.
In the NFL. That's fantastic, man.
So your career ends. What ended up making you think about, you know what? I think I want to go into coaching, because you and I know that being around the NFL, being around college football, these college and the NFL, especially the NFL, you live in the training room, in the film room. You live there,
right?
I mean,
right.
You know, it's a whole nother beast in itself. What made you think, you know what, I want to be a coach at any particular level?
You know, initially, well, I felt like, here's what I really felt that I had to give back to the game of football. You know, that was kind of like my number one thing. It's like, you know, I don't know if I want to coach that, but I want to give back to this game, because the game of football, man, saved my life. And it introduced me to so many great people. You know, not just other football players who are now businessmen and leaders in their community, but also when you talk about our training staff, also when you talk about the people in administration, also you talk about the media people that you deal with and everything else, and normal fans in everyday life. Like it gave me a lot. It allowed me to travel. I mean, come on, man. I traveled to, you know, I was a young, small little kid from San Diego, Southeast San Diego, which is, you know, gang central. And I was able to go, you know, from all the places in when I was in New York and Kansas City, but to Montreal, to Amsterdam, to Berlin, to see the Great Wall. I mean, see the wall that was taken down. I mean, I've been blessed as far as through football. So I wanted to give back. And then I sat with Coach Tomey when he was at San Jose State, and we had dinner, and I just asked him, and he said, you know, he thought it'd be a fantastic idea. I love being in film, you know. I love, and you can agree with me on this part. There's almost nothing that gives you that competitiveness that you're gonna find from the NFL. No. Like it's intoxicating. It's almost a drug. That competition every single day that you got in the NFL. Like, I'm a competitor, and this, while I can't run and jump and do all that stuff anymore, it allows you to compete with your mind a little bit more, and that's what and so it encompassed all those things. And then, and I've been blessed to, be that kind of, that guide for these young people. Because not everybody's going to go college. Not everybody, already know not everybody's going to go to NFL. But what you get an opportunity to do is try to help guide people to be better citizens.
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Tomey was awesome at that, coaching, not just coaching football players, but coaching boys into becoming men. Yeah, we miss him dearly.
Absolutely, every day.
So now, so tell me about your stint at Pueblo High School, because Pueblo High School was not known to be a football powerhouse or even a playoff caliber type high school team before you got there. But you did some pretty good things there. Tell us about what happened there.
We got an opportunity and we took on the challenge. I think, before I got there, 6 years, I was going on 7 years. Before I got there, here's a little thing. They had great teams back in the 60s and maybe the 70s. They were all right. But then from the 90s on, been losing seasons. They had one winning season from the 90s all the way till before I got there in 2014. So, or it might have been more, but they hadn't been to the state playoffs since in 25 years, and they hadn't had a winning season in 15 years. And so it was one of those things where you want to take again the challenge. You love to compete, and we when I got there, when I decided I was going to become a head coach, and they offered it to me, I'm like anybody. Hey, I'm going to win 1 million games, right? We're going to go in, we're going to win 1 million games. Yeah. And that's what you think. And I found out just, before we even took the field, after my first meeting and seeing the school and seeing the kids. And then I realized, like, look, man, it's not about football, which, you would think I would already know, but it's not. I realized, man, a lot of these kids come from, they're 88% free and reduced lunch, a lot of single parent homes, low income. And, you have gangs, you have some drugs, even though the drugs aren't in the school, but you still have that around the area. Kind of like how I grew up until I got to Helix. And so, I was like, look, it's not about football, man. It's about these kids. It's about, we got to teach them how to be better citizens outside of the walls. We got to give them the tools that they can use outside of school. And if we make these kids better citizens, I guarantee you we'll make them, they'll be better football players. I like you just said, I study a lot. You know how much I study football. I study, we'll be prepared. We'll have game plans. We'll compete, because that's just, those are the easy things. The hard things are making sure that, we can feed them when they can't get fed, give them the moral compass, so that when they're out of the school, that they're making the right decisions, not following the wrong crowds, and then making sure that they're academically doing what they're supposed to do, not just being academically eligible. Because it's a different era now. That now if you have an F, you can't play. My era, or at least in San Diego, is you had to have over a 2.0 GPA. Well, they'll have all D's and still be able to play. You can have 5 D's in a pass and you're able to play. And that's okay, but that's not helping you graduate. And so it's all right. Well, what do you want to do when you graduate? And then you have to help them do that way. So once we started doing that, it kind of just started rolling. We had some good players, and we just started winning, man. In 6 years, we didn't have a losing season, not in football. And we had 2 8-win seasons. We lost to a state runner-up in one playoff. We went to three playoffs, and for state playoffs, we lost to one runner-up who were very good. They had Bijan Robinson, who's at Texas now, and Lathan, who's at Ohio State now, and then we lost to the 4A state conference champ last year, Mesquite. We only lost to them by 15 points, and their quarterback's going to Oregon. We had no D1 kids out there playing, and we gave them hell. What can I say, man? It was good. It was good by them, and a lot of those kids, especially seniors last year, they had some D2 offers, but they had. Here's what they had. They had more options to go to universities free. Mm-hmm. Then they had athletic scholarships. They had more university scholarships, and that's the name of the game. You tell me, man, hey, look, I can go to U of A, ASU, or wherever, and I don't have to pay a dime because I have high GPAs and everything else. Like, come on, man, it's like a no-brainer. Yeah, you'll take that. I'll take that for my kids. My son is he wants to go to MPI out in Massachusetts. And I'm like, you mean MIT? He's like, no, MPI is an engineering school. I'm like, okay. All right, here we go. We got to figure this out now, because that's, I couldn't have got it. I had a high GPA, but I wasn't like that. You know what I mean? So, matter of fact, I don't know if you how are you in high school? I know you're interviewing me. I'm gonna ask you, how are you in high school?
You're interviewing the interviewer. I was a pretty good high school student. I mean, I'm not a brainiac per se, but I had a pretty decent GPA.
So do you think you'd have been able to get into Stanford?
No, I would not have been able to get into Stanford. No, but I could have gotten into some decent schools, but nothing, no super high level schools. No, actually, I was the only school. The only school, is a side note, that I was actually applied to as a regular student was Michigan, and I got in.
Nice. See, here's my funny thing on Stanford, right? So, remember back when we were your redshirt year, Denny Green was still the coach.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
At Stanford. So Denny Green was the coach. He came down to San Diego and he was at my buddy's house. And he gets on the phone, and my buddy puts him on the phone. I was like, "Hey, Coach Green, how's it going?" He's like, "Hey, Brandon, how you doing, man? I haven't got by to school, and I just saw your friend Gary. I'm recruiting him as well. How's your grades? Oh, my grades are good. I'm 3.5 GPA. Oh, that sounds great. I'm gonna go by and pick up your transcripts, and we'll be talking to you and everything else." I said, "That sounds great, Coach." Hung that phone up. Hey, man, look, I'm still waiting to hear from Denny Green, man. He didn't call me back.
Yeah, he's Stanford's only calling a few people, man. You gotta have some brains getting that sucker.
He didn't call me back, man. So anytime we play Stanford, even though it's Coach Bill Walsh, I try to kill those guys, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Try to take it to them.
You know what I mean?
So let's get into where you're at now. You left Pueblo High School. You're looking for another opportunity to get into coaching. Where are you at now, and what's your expectations in going into maybe this coming season, or maybe the next season, and getting back into the a spot?
Honestly, I think look, God looks out for you. I tell you what, because who would have thought the world would have been what it's been in 2020? I'm happy I'm not coaching right now, because it's crazy down here in Tucson as far as not knowing if you're going to be able to play or not. I got an opportunity to coach for the indoor football team, indoor football league down here, the Tucson Sugar Skulls. This will be, what would have been their second year. Man, they have a great coach. The coach, Dixie Wooten, he's from Houston. Fantastic guy. And everything they do is first class. Now, our season got cut back in March. So it's kind of a stipend thing. And it's, you want to say year to year, but they, me and Coach Dixie are very good. They're bringing me back, and that starts in February. If the right high school job down here opens and they talk to me, I'll have to take a look at it. I'm not saying, oh yes, I'm just absolutely going. But it'd have to be the right things. There's certain standards. I think when you become a head coach, when I got to be the head coach at Pueblo, our district, TUSD, there was a lot of negative things. People, a lot of my mentors down here would say, hey, that you're going to have trouble with this, you're going to have trouble with that, trouble with money, trouble with just everything. And they, you know what? They're almost 100% right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But once you learn those things, then you know what you won't stand for when you get your next job. Like, it's one thing to know what you want. It's another thing to know what your standards are. So when you understand that, it makes going to a different job a little bit better. I needed to take a break because I tell you what, when I stepped down from the AD job, a few of my that was not last year but the year before last, a lot of my parents, they came to me. It was like 2 months after I stepped down from being the AD. And a lot of the parents came in, they're like, Brandon, you look a lot better. like, I was like, man, that job must have been draining me. I must have been looking horrible.
You look beat down.
I was running around doing everything, man. I was getting beat down. So, I think, I get a chance to now to, like I've been doing, I get a chance to go to some games. Sometimes they'll give me passes and I can be on the field and I can see other people, what they like to do. Like I'm good with the Scottsdale Saguaro, coaching staff. And, I talked to Centennial's coach, one of their coaches yesterday, and, I'm good with those staff. So if I wanted, I can go up to Phoenix and kind of watch them, and see what they like to do and kind of, make myself a better coach. That's the biggest thing. I've done a lot of, I've done a lot of different clinics and stuff like that. So, see where I've made my mistakes and try to get better. But now, if something comes up, I know how I want to run a program a little bit more. I think once you run it, it makes it a little easier.
Yeah, learn from every experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, bro, I've learned a lot, and I have a lot more respect in the state now. Not just from being a football coach, but also the job I did as an AD. So it makes it a lot better, man. I'm super excited for my next opportunity. I'm super excited for my indoor football opportunity because we had a good team this past year. So I talk a lot of trash to the Arizona Rattlers coach because he's also our part owner as well of our team. So I talk a lot of trash to him, and he's a great guy. And then I'm also learning. I get an opportunity. How many times you get a chance at, what am I now, 47, to say, man, I'm still learning some more. You're always going to be learning, but to learn some more techniques as a DB, learn some more techniques as a to help fine tune the things that you already are accustomed to is great.
Yeah. So I usually end the show with asking all of our guests to give me a memorable moment or a funny moment in any level of your career, whether it's high school, college, or the NFL, or maybe you want to give me a memorable moment, maybe a U of A football game that you remember the most.
Oh goodness, that's rough, man. My head, man. I probably forgot more than I remember.
A little bit of CTE going on there.
You know it, man. Waiting for my check. Let's see, because I want to make sure I keep them PC. So I gotta really think. If it was just me and you talking, I got like 1,000.
Yeah.
So, I think, one of my most memorable moments is, it's not so much a moment, just more of a feeling. More of that feeling of when I think of the week when we were preparing for Washington when they were number one.
Mm-hmm.
And, remembering how like focused and like, I don't know. I didn't feel like we were going to lose that game at all. I thought we knew everything that they were going to do. Like it was the back of our hand, I can still remember the call. Like if they go empty, we call Husky and we bring in everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Good memory.
I mean, and that, just that great feeling, like walking out with you guys. Cause I was still a little nervous, when we walked out on that field to do our warm-ups, remember we used to take our lap. And
run right by their DBs and wide receivers.
Yeah, and look, man, they have some big guys.
Yeah,
That team was huge.
Yeah,
those guys were huge. I'm like, okay, man, that fullback, they got 3 fullbacks that look like they're 260. Okay. But no matter all that fear and just looking at you and Demo and Keyshawn, and you guys were like so laser focused. I didn't want to let you guys down. Like, I don't want to let these guys down. Whatever fear I might have, you guys, like, your laser focus, like, just subside. It just squashed it. It flushed it. There was no way I could fear anything standing with you guys. And I was like, man, this is one of the best feelings in the world. And when the crowd came on that field at the end and we're celebrating, man, that was, that feeling. I don't know if we've had that feeling. The Fiesta Bowl was great, but them tearing down the goalpost and everything else, standing room only. I mean, that was fantastic, bro. That was it.
Yeah. I remember the meetings the night before, and there are some times in my career, and you can attest to this as well, whether it's college or the NFL, and you're in a meeting room the nights before the game, in the hotel. There was a sense that evening, that night before, that, man, we were in for a battle. We were gonna take these kids down, and it was a day game, national television. It was a big deal, and every single one of us, I felt like we were all laser focused, and there was no give or take. We were going to take every inch of that field, every moment, and from the first play, it was on. I remember it was from the first play.
Locked in.
Yeah.
Hey, super excited. Crowd. We were locked in, bro. We were locked in. It was. I mean, I remember us coming off the field. We telling coach what we're doing, what's going on. Hey, they did. Everybody has. Hey, he did this to me. Hey, he did that. Okay, yeah. And it was just, that it was just a fantastic, not just a moment. Like I said, it was the whole thing from the week going up, and everybody just hitting their checks. Everybody understanding what this person and that person can do. And I got a lot of friends from that team. Who is that? Remember Jason Shelley? Yeah, Shelley. He played in the XFL. Yep, he played in the XFL with the LA team. Mark Brunell, of course. I can't think of the dang tight end. Just for the life of me,
Bruner. Bruner.
Yeah, Bruner. Yeah, I saw Bruner in the NFL, and we were talking about that thing, laughing during the game. One time we were laughing about it. Of course, Lincoln Kennedy. Yeah, he's from San Diego. He's a San Diego guy, and I've known him since I was in high school, and he and I would talk about it a little bit. And so, I mean, and Lincoln's big. He's a huge dude.
He's still big.
Like,
he's a big guy.
They should give him the ball on the 1 yard line. Like, come on, man. Like, people have to understand. Lincoln is like what, 6'7", like 300.
Yeah.
In high school, he's probably like 305, 310, and they're giving him the ball. It's like, who's gonna step in front of that guy? So, yeah. So we had it. So that was my memorable moment. It's that feeling, man. You get that. And again, this high school, working with Pueblo and low income, we had a couple of good moments where we beat some people that, traditionally have, they got more money, they have better uniform, and when we beat them, when we get those wins, I mean, it's, it's kind of almost that feeling, not quite, but it's kind of that, you get that kind of energy. That's what I love about coaching. Yeah. You know what I mean? For sure. But I want to be on the other end when I have the money and I have the uniforms and kids, and then playing some other people. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Brandon, and I wish you the best of luck and in getting your next gig, going to your next high school, whether it's a coaching job or a head coaching and an AD job. I wish you the best of luck. You're always going to be
Thank you, man. Good friend of mine, I appreciate it.
And we're always going to be Wildcat brothers to the end.
Absolutely. And here's what I say. And one other thing, off topic and everything else, but I want to make sure I say it because I've been saying it and everything else. Make sure, you guys, everyone, get out there and vote. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. Just get out there and exercise your voice. That's Absolutely. The biggest thing, man.
Absolutely.
Huge. Yep. Later, man.
All right, B. Like you said, get out there and vote, everybody. Like we always see, everybody's looking for a miracle. So it might as well be you that delivers it. Be a miracle.
Might as well be you.
And go Bam.